sent it to the.
Ya, nggak connect.
Connect ke sini.
Cek, cek, cek. How's that? Good? A quick announcement. I just posted tonight's live stream link in our BU Bali WhatsApp group chat. So feel free to share it with your loved ones who can't believe where you're where you are right now. Yes. It'll be YouTube. Yeah. This one and the session afterwards. I saw that. Yes, very nice. I saw that.
Yeah, I get it. With all my work still, I still got some nerve issues there. Baby.
Oh.
A little dessert, a little treat. I was asking
So we're going to start a little later. Can I put the book here? And then you can focus in on it? And then later when I sit there, you focus on me. Okay. Good, yeah? Okay. Very nice. Maybe we zoom out a little bit. Yeah, something like this. Perfect. Thank you.
No! Oh my God, stop! I'm going to show everyone your young
of course it's me. Okay, see it.
Terlalu gelap aja tapi dari kamera. Enggak. Nah, mana kasih? Sana deh. Kita bicara apa ya? Apa di setting manual? Coba setting manual. Coba setting manual aja. Ini terlalu gelap soalnya. Oh, boleh.
Okay, you want to see me?
Stream na lang.
That's me. Yeah.
Sige, sige.
No, it's not. You can't play cricket.
Just hold on to myself.
Saya sudah dari ini nggak sih?
Okay. See what happens. 1 minute. What was one? Okay, you
Nggak nyampe nih.
ready? You ready?
Saya kan kesana.
No. Yeah, I saw it. That thing is Pinterest.
Oh, that's the one you're talking about. That's the way they are. So you there.
So the last one was you, but it's in Pinterest.
Yeah, she found it.
Wait, what? So he's famous basketball player?
Her, excuse me, was there only one?
I saw you. I was like, you look so popular.
You guys are about to go to the Q&A. If you can do your
Now I know.
and journal
My girlfriend. Oh, you're serious?
I'm ready.
I'm ready. Let's see it. Huh? Okay, let's see. Mama! Mama! No, hold on. Wait a second.
The one who have the Irishman and the American man.
that is a beauty contest.
Beauty contest. Beautiful.
Oh wow.
And you still have that same glowing skin.
And I had one of those. Right
You were like a siren.
So we have to bring our journal and
Yeah, that's the short answer all the time. Okay, Mama, me and my girlfriend. Ready? I like her so much. Zero drama. That's the best part about her. No drama. No. And she doesn't take the covers away from her. That's a
I always put it down.
Can we confirm the body work time? Be careful, Dash. Oh, maybe we need a.
be careful, Nicole. There's two on the
Gecko food.
Maybe.
No, can we confirm the body work time? You wanted to go when? 8:30, right? Or who did you choose?
No, I'm good. I do know about it. I do know about it. No, I know about my wrestling. I don't know what.
Oh, okay. Did you know who you wanted to treat?
Yeah. More candles.
More candle. Yeah, I will put like
Okay, 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 okay.
So you start in the 7:30.
7:30.
Yeah, I will before that I will put the candle.
Ratu, you're the best.
Boleh kita kata.
Let's do morning. Let's do morning.
Can I arrange the candle? So that for the spiritualization.
Would it be a proper one from there? So we can leave for now. Yeah, as long as it's fine once I sit over there. Okay. I have. Yeah.
I think Korea was
Keep it. Napkin? No, paper napkin. Yeah. Take it off.
Just to make sure your voice is nice, bro. Sorry.
Check.
Sekarang ini nggak? Cek. Cek. Oke, ini coba headsetnya. Cek. Kedengeran nggak suaraku? Nggak usah pakai headset coba.
Hello. Check. Check. Okay, good.
Baru mau mulai.
Is it already live?
Yeah.
You already?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh.
How's that? Signal good? Okay. Maybe you? I don't know. I don't know. Fisha. Fisha. Do you want to sit right there?
Ah, no. Yeah, sure. Welcome.
No, this is Fisha. This is Fisha. Sit here. Sit here. Sit here.
Okay.
I would prefer that.
Do you need more room?
And then come in the free.
Yes.
Yeah, the only challenge they do
Perfect.
is buddy eats food. Buddy, right?
Perfect. Yeah.
Tell me what you would like. Maybe you know that they also like fresh proper. What would you suggest? Like,
Well, okay, so here are the two people that remain.
yeah.
One is the daughter of a guy who died a couple years ago, one of the two best body workers on the island. And she is very strong. Strong inside.
Yeah.
I have Putu.
Okay, so the group is one. And then the other one is this young man by the name of Agor. Train the body work.
Oh, body work, yeah.
And he's the one who healed well, more than him.
He's more like a healer.
Well, no, he's a very intuitive, so he can do more than just body.
All right, let's go with him.
Okay, you good okay with strong woman? Strong.
Is Phil coming?
You can just say, yeah, she's an. Okay, got it.
Berapa jam? Berapa jam? What time?
8:30, because you're.
Okay, body work. Are we ready?
One more person. Some last minute notes about life. Actually, have Alina sit here. Or there. We're nearing the end of day 2. How's everybody feeling? Okay. How are you feeling that is different from when you arrived?
Getting to know more things, more experience.
There's a whole world inside of us that we're unfamiliar with. That's the mind talking. The world inside is actually very beautiful, but we gotta get the cobwebs out. If you look at nature out there, it's sheer beauty beyond anything imaginable. And that's the same intelligence, if you will, that designed us, designed the world inside of us. And so that world inside of us is actually much, much bigger and more interesting and more exciting than the world around us. Yet we've spent most of our lives focused on this world around us, trying to know things, trying to understand things, trying to control things, trying to create that perfect picture of a happy life, and then working towards that. And then things happen differently and we get upset. And we keep doing that over and over. Nothing ever really changes. We never really get there. And as mentioned before, even the things that we do achieve, the happiness is temporary. So there's nothing wrong with the outside world, with the three-dimensional world, with the physical realm. It's just that we're seeking permanent happiness in a place that is impermanent. It's impermanent. The world is constantly changing, evolving, growing, morphing, evolving, shrinking, expanding. Life is in motion. And we're trying to create a picture to hold it still, to make it stand still and just have this part and these people and these achievements. And then we think we'll be happy. And try as we might, that day never comes. Just never comes. And the little things we do achieve that make us happy, that happiness is temporary. Because life is in motion. So in that moment, we can absolutely experience joy. We should absolutely try to achieve things. Because there's the biggest lesson of all contained in that effort to try and achieve things that we think make us permanently happy on the outside. And that is to realize that permanent happiness cannot be found on the outside. All of those efforts of trying to achieve outcomes and goals slowly but surely point us to within. It'll naturally happen for most. That just with maturity, you've tried everything on the outside, and slowly that lesson starts to sink in. Man, I've tried again and again and again, and I can't get life to stand still. I get one thing in place, and then something else shifts over here. And then I turn my attention there, and that old thing that I thought was in place shifts and morphs. It's always changing on us. So, gradually we learn that happiness on the outside is a temporary happiness. But we have to experience it in order to learn that that's not where happiness is to be found. Because we come into this incredible world full of excitement. One moment we're in spirit form, and the next moment we're in these bodies and we can hear and think and dream and taste and have all these senses and look at this incredible beauty. I mean, it's mesmerizing. No wonder we get infatuated by it. We should get infatuated by it. And that's how life is designed. We get infatuated by this incredible experience because it's probably once in a lifetime, in a physical lifetime, that's what we're here to experience. We shouldn't reject that world out there. We should fall in love with it, with things, and try to maintain them and feel the three-dimensional aspect and our feelings about them, and so that we can then learn to let go of those things and realize that we don't find happiness in the things, but through the things, because they point us back to who we are inside. And that is, in general, the normal course of life. That's just the evolution of every life on the planet. It doesn't matter now, 500 years ago, 5,000 years ago. It was always the same. The only difference is some people, for one reason or another, all of us here in attendance, are chosen for some reason to not have to go through our entire life and learn that hard lesson, because it's a hard lesson. Years go by, decades go by, trying to achieve things, living for those outcomes that we think make us happy. Then to realize, well, it was good for the moment, but it didn't last. And to be left with that emptiness again. And then try the same thing on the next outcome, the next goal. Be it career, be it people, be it relationships, little goals, passions, getting better at something, only to find that in the end it's temporary happiness. So there must be a better way. That's the question that drove me into this space. I had the things that society says should bring happiness. Had a lot of freedom to do things that I enjoyed. But even in those things, I realized I was only living for outcomes. So there has to be a better way. And the better way is not to have to continue to invest years and decades into our external life, our external experiences, only to be left with this fleeting sense of happiness, but is to start doing the inner work, because that's where all of that was pointing towards. Because all the things that we seek on the outside that we think will bring us happiness are actually things that we use to cover up our inner sense of lack. That's why we created those outcomes in the first place. We need money so that we feel safe and secure. We want a relationship so we feel safety and taken care of. We want kids so we feel loved. All of those decisions of outcomes are based in an inner sense of lack. You can do all of those things from a different place, but primarily we do those things from a place of lack. That's where we all kind of start out from. We seek to cover up or make up for what we lack with the people, places, and things around us. So back to most people are destined to continue manifesting their reality from this place of lack, these situations, from which they then learn a little, learn a lot, maybe repeat some of it again, maybe repeat all of it again. And there's no right or wrong. They're learning, they're growing. We're all learning and growing all the time. So life will reflect back who you are on the inside wherever you go. Whatever you do, whatever you seek to achieve, however you engage with the world, it's always mirroring back who you are inside. That's your subjective lens, the glass that spills on the table. You see it through your subjective lens. There is, however, this amazing fast track, if you will. Not that we need to get to anywhere. It's always important to remember. But where we take our growth and our evolution into our own hands. So no longer manifesting things that can take years or decades to then learn the lesson of actually it's within me that I need to look and solve and heal and grow. But rather we can develop tools and techniques to recognize that every single time we feel triggered by people, places, and things around us, it's actually an opportunity to look within. The things that we initially always push away. They feel annoying. They feel like, why me? We don't want them. These things that trigger us and make us feel uncomfortable are actually life's way of providing us insight into that inner world. It's a monumental reframe once I realized that, at least. It's like, this is triggering me for a reason, this situation. It's not the situation or the person that's trying to annoy me. It's pointing to something inside of me that feels triggered. And if there wasn't something there, an energetic knot, a wound, something not quite aligned, I wouldn't feel triggered. The situation would pass me by. Just like it might pass by the guy standing next to me who's experiencing the exact same situation. He's not triggered, but I am. Because I have my own internal energetic makeup. So this then takes us to a place of where we are today. Where we're in an environment, whether we knew it initially or not, we find ourselves in an environment to really embrace our inner journey, be open to the tools, be open to the reframe, be open to ourselves. Because our body actually is always speaking to us. Always speaking to us. The problem is it's a subtle voice. And the world around us tends to be very noisy and very loud, especially the outside voices in our head. They drown out that subtle voice that's always there. Our inner GPS telling us this resonates, this doesn't resonate. So really all we're doing, this is not magic, even though sometimes it can feel like it, magical, is we're learning to listen to ourselves. And it's not just some random voice, it's our inner blueprint, it's who we are. Again, your inner truth does not clash with the truth of others. It doesn't require validation. You just know it. There are parts, everyone has a certain truth about certain things that where they know what that feels like. When you just know, well, this is me. Doesn't matter what anybody else says. And what we're doing here is we're really trying to amplify that voice so that we don't get as distracted, as confused, as disoriented by all the bombardment, by all the outside voices. Some of those in our heads, implanted, conditioned in us by our upbringing, where we don't even know, is that our voice or is it something somebody planted in us? As I mentioned yesterday, we're a very special bunch here. Life has brought us together in a place where we can hold space for each other to have that inner journey. Because if it was that easy, then we wouldn't have to come here. But it's not that easy. When we go back into our daily lives, at the workplace, at home, with our families, with our partners, there's a lot of voices telling us that this is all a waste of time. So it takes extra effort, extra courage to block out those naysayers. They have their own journey. People come to it at their point in time, this lifetime or another. But we're here because we're ready. We're ready to be our authentic selves. It requires work. We've all been doing it. In these 2 days, you've meditated 10 times more, some of you, than you've ever meditated in your entire life. That's already incredible. And there's an opening that's happened. I can feel it. And even if the mind keeps drifting and you keep getting frustrated and bringing it back and keeps drifting and you're bringing it back and you're thinking, well, this isn't leading anywhere. I can tell you from my own experience, because I was there at one point, that is the work. Exactly that is the work. Not the stillness, not the calm mind. I finally got there. Instead of 10 seconds, now I can keep it 20. That's a cause and effect, an end result. But the work itself is noticing that your mind is drifted, bringing it back. Over and over and over again. And really, it's remarkably simple. I mean, if you think about it, there's nothing magical or woo-woo or voodoo or unusual, really. We're working with the truth within the framework of our own bodies. Every single one of us. You have your own truth that is looking to arise, stronger and louder and firmer. And you're just creating space for that truth to arise. That's all we're doing. It just takes a little work in the beginning to get it going. Everything has momentum. And right now we've done, a couple days of work, and there's the rest of your life momentum that may interfere when you come back. That's why we want to really maximize our effort during this week, because that tidal wave of the momentum of the previous life will come and sweep you over. But that's okay. We put a dent in it, put a little crack in that dominant monkey mind that's been controlling us all our lives. And just like you put a little crack in the giant boulder, increase the little crack, put another little crack, and before you know it, it's splitting and it's falling apart. It's quite remarkable, having lived decades, that it only takes a few hours, a few days to start putting a crack in it. And that's because that is our natural state, is to be connected, to be flowing. It isn't so unnatural to have this big truth structure that we keep maintaining of our beliefs and validating and comparing and judging. So much work. And it's so fragile, really. It feels offended and triggered by the next person coming along saying something different. That's a really hard way to live when you start thinking about it. And no one's shown us any difference, so that's why we're where we are. But that crack, that opening to your more authentic self, changes who you are, and it will change the dynamic between you and everyone you encounter. There's no guarantee, but that crack will provide an opportunity for the other person to look within. Because from that crack, you're no longer reacting to what they're saying, you're no longer maintaining the dynamic that was in place before, that we were all part of. You think that you have a difficult relative? Well, part of that difficult relationship is you. You resisting them, you wanting them to be different, is holding them in that place that we don't want them to be in. We're playing a role in it. And it's never about arguing I'm right and you're wrong, or trying to think it through and rationalize it through. It's really just changing yourself. And that little crack that we now bring to the dynamic where we're no longer in resistance because we don't feel that need to defend and validate. Just a little less is already enough to bring life into that stalemate situation. It's a journey. The most important thing is to recognize that we're here to learn and grow and experience and get better and heal and get wiser and share to the point where our own cup is so full that we can then be of service to others, because the things that annoyed us, that would trigger us, that we had to work through, are now the things that we're experts at. We've done it. We've overcome that situation. And now we can help others through it. So all the troubles that we experience, that's actually our calling. The things we resist with, that we struggle with so much, are actually our calling. Because we wouldn't struggle with them, we wouldn't resist them if there wasn't something inside that needed attention. It needed awareness. And so we're creating that awareness here. Awareness is a cleansing mechanism. Just imagine walking through this world, and all the things that used to trigger you no longer trigger you. How much time, how much energy we burn dealing with the things, the people, places, and things that we feel triggered by. But it is a journey, and there's no magic switch where it goes from total reactivity to no reactivity. It's a physiological wiring that we're undoing here, so that when we no longer react to a particular trigger because we've given it attention, that the mind can now calm down, and those nerves that used to be inflamed all the time because you get upset about something recurringly are no longer being triggered. Those nerves can now calm, cool, shrivel, and disappear. Speaking of journey, there's a story I'd like to share. And it's the story of a fisherman, you may have heard it, who's sitting on the dock with his fishing rod, pulling out one fish, another fish. And a businessman comes along and asks him, "Why don't you put 2 rods into the water?" And the fisherman asks, "Why would I do that?" And the businessman says, "Well, because then you can feed your family and sell the other fish. And buy a third rod and pull in more fish. And the fisherman asks, well, why should I do that? And then the businessman goes, well, then you can eventually buy a net and pull in even more fish. And the fisherman says, why should I do that? Then you can buy a boat, 2 boats, a fleet, a whole carrier. And the fisherman asks, well, why should I do that? And the businessman says, so you could retire and sit on the dock and fish. So there's 2 ways to understand this story. One is that all of that trouble was for nothing, because in the end, the fisherman is back to sitting on the dock, pulling in 1 fish. But what that fisherman, who never bought a second fish, second rod, the net, the boat, the fleet, what that fisherman is missing is the journey. It's never about the outcome. Even if you wind up in the same spot, that fisherman would have missed all of those lessons, all of that exposure to life, to challenges, to problem solving, to adventure, to the unknown. And all of those things would have taught that fisherman something about himself. That the fisherman who just stayed sitting on the dock is still missing. So we shouldn't be afraid of the journey. The journey is all there is. The journey is how we become who we're meant to be. The journey is how we realize who we are. And so we must embrace that journey. Because if we don't, we're in resistance to the very mechanism, the very design of life. In fact, you can't really outdo or escape this mechanism. Even if you decide in your firmest dedication and willpower that you're just going to stay sitting here on the couch in the same spot, something inside of you at some point will roar up, rear its head and go, I'm shriveling, I'm dying, I'm not alive any longer. So ultimately, we are our own best change makers, because no matter how much we try to hold on to a situation and try to keep it in place because it's safe and it's secure or whatever else we feel like it's giving us, there comes a point where our inner life force has had enough. We're going to create change. But again, it's a much harder way to go. To hold on to something, trying to keep it still, and then begrudgingly, when it just somehow gets to a point where I've had enough, I need to live. As opposed to proactively taking charge and recognizing that life is here to nurture us. We're not meant to stand still. We're not meant to be in a static place. That's where fear and anxiety grow their roots. You start to feel very small. What's different, the twist I've put on this idea of that's out there of the journey to self-realization, as traditional spiritual mediums describe it as. The important twist for me was that it's the journey of self-realization, because we're learning all these lessons along the way. There is no day that we're not being confronted with who we are currently and being asked to reflect on that. Is that who we really are? Do we want to be that in this place? In every single situation, especially the ones that trigger us, there's an opportunity to self-reflect. So we're really on the fast track of the journey of self-realization, because we're no longer waiting for life to happen. We are becoming life happening. We are becoming life happening. To respond to things as they are, which we've been practicing with our breath. To see things as they are, not how we want them to be. The how we want them to be keeps us separate, keeps us small, keeps us in fear. But seeing it as it is pulls us in. There's acceptance, there's an embrace. We become part of the greater, the whole, the greater current. And so that very crucial concept we've been practicing for 2 days, simply on our breath, to observe the incoming and outgoing breath at the entrance of our nostrils, as it is, without wanting it to be different. Someone yesterday, I think it was Bjorn, mentioned fear. And I wanted to maybe read a quick chapter, quick paragraph from a chapter, because one of the greatest fears is the fear of failure. Holds us back from so much. So those of you who have the book with you, you can flip open to page 165. And the rest of you who don't have the book, you can just listen. So the first sentence in this chapter is one of my most favorite sentences in the entire book. And it goes like this. Failure is when the outcome you've been living for, based on a goal that isn't yours, doesn't match the expectations stemming from making decisions not in alignment with you. If that sounds like a mouthful of nothingness, that's because it is. There's no such thing as failure. It only feels like it. It feels like there is when you're in your head, focused on outcomes. But when you're not focused on outcomes, there's only living, learning, doing, and letting go. Growing up in a fear-based society, however, you're taught to avoid failure at all costs. First, you are confronted with parental expectations and the pressure to not let them down. Then the education system instills fear and self-loathing in you in the form of grades and report cards. Later in the workplace, you are judged with performance reports. You carry this failure mindset into your senior years, judging yourself when your mental and physical faculties naturally start to slow down. Feeling like you failed can be so final, so absolute, it's easy to forget that whatever constitutes failure is entirely subjective. To the person trying to please outside voices, failure is an absolute disaster. For the student working on letting things come and go, it's a great learning opportunity. And for the master who is in the flow, it's an enriching gift that eventually passes. There's nothing ever to be gained from vilifying the experiences that help you realize yourself more. Judging yourself for failing is like punishing yourself for learning and growing. You don't learn to walk by staying down when you have fallen and berate yourself for why you've fallen. The path of least resistance is to simply get up and try again. Through simple trial and error, you develop better skills, better insight, greater empathy, and compassion for others. That's how you discover what's true for you. It's cause and effect. Failing means you're doing, and you realize yourself through the doing. You can't fail if you don't try. So the fact that you're failing is the best sign possible. Replace it with learning. If you're not failing, if you're not learning, then you're probably standing still. So it's so important to start doing, especially in this daily practice. Because the moment you start negotiating with yourselves, the mind will come up with 100 reasons why today is not the day I'm going to do my meditation practice. Tomorrow is a much better day. And tomorrow comes along, and it's the same negotiation game. Tony Robbins has some great videos out there where he, in his gusto way, describes how he never negotiates with himself. He just does it. If you give yourself even 1 second of doubt to come up with an excuse, you'll already lose half the time. That's why we're trying to implement a template here, where when we get up, we go to meditate. First thing in the morning. And then in the evening, right before we go to bed, we meditate. Because there's as few to-dos or as few distractions as possible left at the end of the day. This motivation to just do will be your biggest ally in maintaining this practice. You get up and you just do. Right before you turn off your nightlight, you just do. Because I won't be around. No one will be around but you yourself to hold yourself accountable. Visha can hold herself accountable, I can see. Yeah. Determination. And there comes a point where the self-discovery, the journey of discovering yourself, it goes from there's all of your life, and then you try to carve out a little time to go to a retreat. The point comes where you plan your retreats, and then the rest of your life happens around it. Because this is what we're here to do. It's to become our true self. And then apply that authenticity to the outside world. But the core is who we are on the inside, who we're designed to be. Everyone has their own unique blueprint. And to discover that. It's the most beautiful thing. Because what it is falling in love with yourself. The creation that you are. And the way we love on the outside towards others will always, always be a reflection of our capacity of how much we love ourselves. Any questions?
That was really nice.
Everyone here is part of this experience. You're holding space for me as much as I'm holding space for you, as much as we're holding space for each other. So everything that originates out of this moment is a collective manifestation.
I have a question. As you know, I've done quite some, let's call it self-development, personal development. Not so much meditation, but more about mindset and these kind of things. But maybe it's interesting to know how you would advise us in terms of, for example, meditation. How can you actually bring it into your life? You're talking about Tony Robbins, who doesn't even give himself 1 second to let it go. He just do it. He just does it right away, right? So how do you have some small advices or things we could implement in our daily life? How to do these things?
Great question. Always good to get practical. So the tricky part is in the beginning, when we feel like meditation is separate from the rest of our life. We sit down to do our meditation and we try to carve out some precious time there, and then we go out into work day or social day, and we think of those things as separate. But what we ultimately want to achieve or get into the state of taking the mindfulness that we cultivate in our sits and bringing it with us into the daily life, into being a parent, into being a teacher, into the workplace, into our relationships. So they're not separate things. It's cultivating enough mindfulness and self-knowledge in our sits to then inform how we interact with the rest of the world. So what are some of the ways, the easiest ways to have some of that mindfulness seep into our daily life? Well, there's remarkably simple ways to do that. There's so much opportunity during the day where we have a little space. We've talked about that little space that after I hit a tennis ball, the few seconds it takes to walk back to the baseline, where I practice mindfulness and might bring myself back to the present moment. It just takes a few seconds. We talked about how before you walk into an important meeting or jump on an important call, you just take a moment, a few seconds to ground yourself in that presence. It's no different than what we've been doing. Even better is to bring mindfulness into things like walking. walking from point A to point B, taking conscious steps. The mind loves to race and just go, 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 get there. It doesn't even see the in-between. It can't wait till you're there, and it dismisses everything in between. That's why we have this practice, so that we can start even walking consciously. Another great one of my favorites, is conscious eating. Whenever I get a sandwich at the supermarket, I engage the sandwich maker person. How is your day? How are you doing? Has it been busy? Because I want them to snap out of their routine of just making sandwich after sandwich after sandwich. Because then they're making my food unconsciously. And conscious food, amazingly, tastes so much better. From Chef Fisha, validation. So these are the little things. And what is that really? Well, it's connecting with people. It's being a human and connecting and asking somebody how their day is going. That already brings consciousness to the situation. Presence, awareness. If you can get a little smile out of them, even better. That sandwich is going to taste so good. Even doing the dishes. Noticing detail breaks all the ingrained patterns of a static image that we've created of something. So the closer we observe something, the more we notice a detail, it actually breaks that image, and we just see it for its liveliness again, for its freshness. Especially in relationships. You've been with somebody for a very long time. You kind of start glossing over their aliveness. How do you regain that? Well, notice something you haven't noticed before. Some detail. It could just be an earlobe. Look at their eyebrow. Look at freckles. It breaks that monotony of just that person and the images that we create. And suddenly they come to life again. Wow. So in the beginning, it does feel like a separate activity. I'm meditating and bringing my attention back, I'm frustrated. Now I get to go into my daily life. But just trust that in that practice, even if it's just 15 minutes, some change is coming into your energy field, in how you perceive yourself. Just a little less thinking stream, a little more quiet. Because with each piece of quiet, you see more. With each thought that you don't get entangled in, you're more aware of what's actually going on around you. You see opportunities more, you see people more, you're able to connect with them. It just becomes a very joyful situation. You can empathize with somebody who may be having a bad day because you're more aware, you're seeing they're sad. And you can go and lend a helping hand or create some space. Be a good listener. One of my favorite things I used to do is trace back when I was about to, with my fork, take a first bite out of my meal, is take a moment and trace back the journey of that piece of food on my fork, how it got there.
That's something I thought about too, like when you're having rice. Think about the ladies who pick up each rice from the rice fields, and how they bend it over for the meal, and the appreciation for the meal that you're having. I read about this in my things.
Yes. Gratitude, right? When you start to see everything and it's just amazing that it's here and it was made and it came, somehow it showed up here, and the journey it took, and all the way to the fact that it exists. And gratitude is super easy. For your journaling, that could be your entire journal entry. 3 things I'm grateful for. If you do it in the morning, do it in the evening, three things that I look forward to tomorrow. Just tuning ourselves to the things we want to see, that we want to experience. Because so much of it is just what do we give our attention to. There's every possibility is out there, every possible experience. Which experience do we give our attention to? And that then becomes our vibration, our reality, our sense of the world. Yes?
Coming back to the fear topic, we do say that fear stands for false evidence appearing real. But my question is FOMO, fear of missing out. Does the grounding technique also help mostly, or is there something else?
Yeah, that's a great question. So FOMO, fear of missing out, right? When you feel like you're home alone or somewhere and something's happening somewhere and you wish you were there, just like we know all of our friends and family wish they were here. That's the reverse FOMO. Glad I'm not there. When your identity is dependent on the things around us, or more specifically, the thoughts that we have about things around us. Oh, it must be so cool over there right now. They're having the greatest time. You know, all of Instagram is basically about FOMO. It makes every snapshot looks like that's the hottest place to be in the world right now. And then they take down the filters and take off their fancy clothes, and they're in their kitchen, or it's all staged. But even if it's not, when our own happiness is dependent on the world around us, then it jerks us around. FOMO is just one example of that. Wish I was there. Oh, I'm so sad here, I'm so lonely, it can just escalate into a whole miserable evening, make you depressed. When we depend on others for our happiness, and they don't act exactly the way you need them to be happy, and you feel disappointed and upset, and again you go down, plummet. The world out there is always changing, it's always evolving. And if we attach our happiness to this ever-changing world, we're seeking permanent happiness in an impermanent world, then our life experience will be up and down and roller coaster and crazy. And so the work is to come out of this roller coaster and our attachment to all these things making us happy, because we're needing those things because we haven't done the work on ourselves. Then life will continue to jerk us around until we do the work.
It's that lack, inner lack.
Inner lack. It's always some inner lack. And the inner lack is to be understood as a layer on top of what is actually completion. These are just layers that we've been conditioned with, certain experiences, for whatever reason they happen. They're layers, but they're covering up this complete sense of self underneath. So only when we're trying to complete ourselves with the things around us, people, places, and things, and then try to hold them in place so that we feel complete, then life goes crazy. Roller coaster. So as we remove or release, really, these stuck feelings, these layers, then we discover this complete self that was always there. Your journey is not about becoming someone you are currently not. Your journey is to be more of who you already are. Last sentence of chapter 1.
So whenever this homework comes, so this two activities.
If that's what helps, absolutely.
I don't know about you, but I really like joy of meeting out. I don't feel like anything. Not feeling anything. Maybe somehow it feels like it's, yeah, I always feel joy when someone's like not inviting me or something like thinking because maybe there's someone that or something that I've been protected with.
Ah, very nice. The joy of missing out.
Yeah,
Jomo.
I think it's individual because some people are fearing certain things. Because I feel like done this, I mean like I have so many friends somehow they just forget to invite me or something. When I saw Instagram or this is really my best friend. It's like why? But somehow I feel like maybe there's someone or something that I've been connected with. So it's like
And that works for you. Yeah. I mean, it points to a deeper trust, right? That things are happening the way they happen, and I got to trust that it's in your highest good and your highest interest.
something good for you in that. Yeah, you feel protected by someone or something that might. It is not good for you. So you are not yeah, simply. Okay. I have a question.
Yes.
More about self-love or how one understand how much one loves themselves.
How to know how much you love yourself?
Can I do something which I observed today?
In relation to this question?
Yeah. So you just said in your talk that how much you love others is a reflection of how much you love yourself. So today, like this was unexpected. Like mom went down and gave everyone something.
Yeah.
That was something she did out of sudden. It wasn't planned before the trip. It was just she saw so many people. She liked them, and I was so fascinated. I'm like, how did she even think about it? How did she even do it? So like I got the answer from you because I just see that you're just out of shape or like that, but she kind of loves herself so much that the love is flowing out of her and she kind of distributes it.
So, your own son answered the question better than I could have. Look at how much you love others. That is how much you love yourself.
You can take it from all this is a question seriously. That it is you said that love yourself. Right? But I think most of us we don't love ourselves. The way I really don't something about that.
Well, yeah.
Most of us what?
We say you may be exceptional.
No, but I didn't
Love, he said love yourself. Love
okay.
yourself.
Okay.
But there we have a link, right? There we don't love ourselves so much. We love other things, other people, but we don't love ourselves. That is why this unhappiness, that is why this instability, what I think. That is what I'm asking you. That how to understand that how much we are loving ourselves.
Go ahead.
I feel somehow like that. I mean, like, I'm very, very, because of my mother, I like really rationing. I feel, when I feel down and I don't feel like I love myself a lot, I do a lot of stuff, like, I do overworkout, I did like a day, 3 times or 45, because I feel like I have to love myself. I beat myself. I beat myself up. I couldn't sick for 2 days after that. I was like beating myself. Now it's like coming back and think, and I see someone's like really care of me. I would see my son who's like looking at me like very, very delightful of seeing me, and back to that feeling, like I'm observed the feeling of someone, like I'm really like nurturing and giving. I see like my friends, it's like attracting to my energy. I was like sticking to their eyes, and then stick with their feeling, not my feeling. It's a lot of process because I feel like with my work, it's always has to be like we have to be more, more like this, or you're like less with that, more on that. It's like always like I was beaten up from my young age. So when I feel like grow up now, when I don't feel like I like myself, I see the people like me, and I sit with their feelings and like observe it. But it's a lot of process.
Well, lack of self-love is essentially thoughts that tell us that we're not good enough. They tell us that we have to try harder, that family have imprinted. Somewhere those thoughts took hold of us and we internalized them as our own. And so becoming aware of our thoughts all the more helps along the way of the less we believe these self-deprecating thoughts, the more the natural self-love, those layers of we're keeping ourselves down by believing these thoughts, by identifying with these thoughts. And if we no longer identify with them, it releases those feelings inside of us about lack of self-worth, of lack of confidence. And it's just another example of the incredible power of awareness, that we just become aware of the thoughts that we keep having that make us feel like we're not good enough. They're just thoughts. When we believe them, they're very real. When we identify with these thoughts, they're extremely real. So what you're experiencing is real. It's not to be diminished. So once you become aware of them, then you realize they're just thoughts. And you are not your thoughts. So, meditate.
So the self-acceptance comes from self-love, vice versa.
Absolutely. Yes.
And be mindful.
Mm-hmm.
If you do work out, be mindful.
Yes.
No, I think it's very different because everybody feels Dagger, but he himself is not, I feel he's not loving himself. Self-love is so.
Well, we have a private session this week, so we can talk about it. Yeah. Yes.
Giving a lot of tips.
Oh, all right. Yes. Yeah.
I think you are having a good week, eh? Can you please explain to everybody what just happened at dinner? Please, this is the most funny thing I've ever heard.
So he was talking about moving to America and asked me why I had left. Well, actually, Bjorn had asked me why I had moved.
Yeah.
And I said, because of leaving the rat race, getting out of it. And you responded,
I'm going to enter.
with full awareness, he is entering it. And even better, with full awareness, you have an escape plan already in place. So, amazing journey ahead of you.
And I also want to, this is very funny, but I also want to say, like, you are 21, and you told me, I think it was yesterday, we had a short conversation that I wish I would have started this journey in my life when I was that age. I was lucky enough to start at about, let's say, 25-ish. I'm 34 now, so almost like 10 years. But I'm so curious what's gonna be out of you, you know?
We
I'm
all
sure
know
you're gonna.
it's
It's
gonna
gonna,
be great.
yeah, it's gonna be something really interesting and something really great because I really feel that you wanna learn, you wanna improve, you wanna, yeah, that's good. And like what Chris said to you yesterday, it's also don't call it fails or mistakes, right? But call it lessons in life,
He said, he said,
right?
Yes,
every experience makes you what you are.
absolutely.
About that story you said, good or bad.
And Nicole was sharing the story of that magic purge pill during the Panchakarma, and we were all like, "Oh!" And he very calmly leaned over and said, "What's in the pill?" He's the only one who just had the inquisitiveness and just the calmness to like not just take it at face value, but to look beyond.
He just speaks frequently because even during breakfast, I noticed that even like porridge, he will go and where everyone put it on the plate, he bring his bowl and he will put the porridge there because it's secret. So I'm like, well, I didn't think about it. He thinks different.
Okay, well, with that said, we still have today's meditation session ahead of us. I thank you all for this wonderful roundtable conversation. And we'll have one-on-one sessions throughout the week. I'm really excited. Thank you to Nicole for setting that up. And then, yes, thank you. Yes, even tonight. We have Kelly and Shayo, correct? Yes.
One thing I want to say, you said you started at 21, you started at 25 years, whatever. But sometimes it is not the years, the experience.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Oh yeah, there's no
in the yoga
real
institute
correlation.
also we get the comment, but it do make difference because when I was around that age, I entered the yoga institute. So, at the time I finished my course, my father died. Okay. So that time I learned that acceptance and let go. Because I was full of that. And he also died sudden. And I was very much, close to him.
Of course. I understand.
But
But it's nice to see that he's already aware of it. That's interesting.
if you ask me, normally I don't have that dream or something, but if you ask what he will be, when but somewhere I have one wish that spiritually he should grow, wherever whatever he is doing, spiritually he should be in his idol.
But still one thing was there, we were talking about Vipassana that time. So these guys have done Vipassana after they have seen life up to a certain extent. So they have those experiences with them to reflect upon, which I am lacking currently. So me doing Vipassana, like I was planning to do Vipassana sometime now in like 3 to 4 months. But I think I have the lack of those insights to actually do that. So it will be better to maybe do it. Like 4 to 5 years down the line I should do that.
I can assure you, you have many, many lifetimes to reflect on.
So I should do it.
I think so too.
That's a great point. Oh my gosh.
Before it happens, it's better to do it. You are easing to it. But I don't know why, but I did at the same age with Vipassana. I know many things. Still, what Chris said, it clicked to me very fast and I was able to put it practically. So I don't get that.
Vipassana, it's essentially what we're doing now. We're about to move into it. The thought and awareness practice is Anapana traditionally, and we're going to move into body awareness, which is akin to Vipassana. Yeah.
Very famous.
You also did?
Now I'm doing it.
Yes, now we're all doing it. Okay, with that said, let's move to the upstairs shala, just like yesterday, and for our evening meditation.
Today I really have a knee problem, so I'll sit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'll keep this on. Maybe just move there. Okay.
Candlelight meditation. Concentration.
No, I've heard of it, but I don't do that. Yeah. Oh, oh, he picked you. Oh. Oh, I knew there was one bolstered. Too many, too few. Come here. We have a full house. And here.
They're extra.
Why don't you take one of the larger green bags?
No, you can squeeze in right there. Daria? Okay.
Be careful with candles.
Yeah, be careful, guys.
There's a lot of candles.
Okay.
No, I take a bean bag.
We all have food. You can keep those two. Yeah.
We're going to take out that. Yeah. Carrots.
Just make sure it doesn't block.
Oh, Karen, the camera.
Yeah. No, that's good. Okay, yeah, camera's right there. All right. We have a full house. Just. No, it's fine. Oh, poor Charlie. Come on, bring him up. Okay. So in the last few meditations, I barely said a word. It's because everybody knew the drill. You were on your own. And tonight's meditation, I will go back to guiding you more, because we're going to add a twist, a very important twist to the meditation practice. So, the best way to learn this is just to follow instructions at this point. I'm happy to explain the backdrop at a later point, but for right now, let's settle back into our comfortable meditation positions. An upright posture, straight spine, stacked bones. And we're going to resume focusing on the incoming and outgoing breath at the entrance of our nostrils. We will do that for about 10 minutes. Natural breath, normal breath. If you need to breathe harder once or twice to connect with your breath, that's okay. And then return to natural breath. Treat these 10 minutes the way we usually treat the last 5. Keep your focus on your breath with strong determination. Whenever you find your mind has drifted, simply bring it back smoothly and effortlessly. Using the sounds around us to deepen our awareness of our surroundings. And then returning your attention to the entrance of your nostrils. Deep focus, intense focus, determined focus. 5 more minutes. Deep focus, intense focus, determined focus. 3 minutes. Even deeper focus, more determined focus. For 1 minute. Now shift your attention from the incoming and outgoing breath at the entrance of your nostrils to the top of your head, your crown chakra. Keep your attention from the top of your head and notice any sensations. It could be a tingling sensation, a prickly sensation, it could be hot sensation, cold sensation, whatever sensation may arise, simply observe it. Notice it. Keep focusing on your crown chakra, the tip of your top of your head. And notice any sensations that may arise. If you feel no sensation, that's okay too. Just keep observing. If you feel like your mind has wandered, you can return your attention back to the tip of your nose, the incoming and outgoing breath at the entrance of your nostrils. And once you have focused your attention, return it back to the top of your head and notice any sensations. It may be a prickly sensation, a tingling sensation, hot sensation, cold sensation, or no sensation at all. Simply notice. Now gradually move your attention from the top of your head to between your eyebrows, your forehead, and rest there, observing any sensations that may arise. If you feel your mind has drifted, simply bring it back to your forehead, the space between your eyebrows. Now gradually move your attention down to your cheeks, your mouth area, and notice any sensations. Without labeling what the sensation may be, simply notice it. Now continue and move your attention to your throat, the front of your Adam's apple. and notice any sensations that may arise. If you feel no sensations, that's okay too. Just keep noticing. Now move your attention down to the top of your chest and rest your attention there. And just notice any sensations that may arise. Maybe a tingling sensation or a prickly sensation, or the sensation from your clothes. Any sensation. Just observe as it is. About the size of your hand. And noticing any sensations that may arise. If you feel a sensation in another part of your body, simply notice it and bring your attention back to your right bicep. Now move your attention down to your right forearm and notice any sensations that may arise. And continue moving down to your right hand. Chest. And down over the area of your heart. Notice any sensations that may arise.
Maintaining an area about the size of your head.
stomach area. And notice any sensations that may arise. Any sensation is a valid sensation. If you feel no sensation at all, that's okay too. Keep noticing, observing. Now move your attention down to your root chakra. Notice. Now keep moving your attention to your left thigh and rest there. Noticing any sensations that may arise. Keep moving your attention to your left knee and down to your left shin. And keep your attention there, noticing any sensations that may arise. It could be a prickly sensation, tickling sensation, a hot, cold sensation, any sensation at all is a valid sensation. There's no need to look for sensations. Just notice if any sensations may arise. Continue moving down to your left foot. Keep your attention there and look for any sensations. Now shift your attention back up to your root chakra and over to your right thigh and observe sensations may arise. Feel no sensations. Just keep noticing, observing. On down Focus your attention on your right shin. Sensations that may arise. And continue down to your right foot. Keep your attention there and notice any sensations that may arise. Now bring your attention back all the way up to the top of your head, to your crown chakra. And notice any sensations that may arise. Now gradually return our attention to our breath, the incoming and outgoing air at the entrance of our nostrils. Notice any sensations that arise at the entrance of your nostrils. Gradually open our eyes. Notice your surroundings. Staying connected to your breath. And relaxing your posture. So, congratulations. We just completed our first Padma body scan. The 2 days that we spent focusing on the incoming and outgoing air at the entrance of our nostrils had the purpose of sharpening our mind's ability to stay focused on one spot. Remember when you first tried, within seconds, your mind would waver and drift. So we had to tune and train and sharpen our mind's ability to stay focused on one spot. Without that, we can never learn to observe our sensations. So this tool of grounding ourselves and focusing on the breath at the entrance of the nostrils is a vital tool in our practice that we always come back to. It's a companion meditation, Anapana, as it's called in traditional practices. I simply call it thought awareness, because that's what it is. So whenever we have trouble with our body scanning, which we'll be doing lots of, we return to our breath. We ground ourselves in our breath at the entrance of our nostrils, and then go back to where we last left off in our body scan. So what are these body scans good for. Whenever we engage with the world around us, we experience sensations. These sensations show up somewhere in our body. They're always there. They are our feelings. We navigate through the world and we have feelings as a result of that. But we're so used to reacting to our feelings that we never actually just let our feelings be, but instead we react to them, we push away the unpleasant ones, we cling to the pleasant ones. And we never even notice the sensations in our body, where those feelings are showing up, because our reaction is so immediate, so quick, and then we're back in our head, blaming the world for how it makes us feel. So in the coming days, we will learn and practice to scan exactly the way we just did our body from the top of our heads down to the tip of our toes, continuously, regularly, part by part, the way I just demonstrated. Using the area of about the size of your hand to cover each part and notice any sensations. And it may very well be in the beginning that you feel very little. I still have blind spots today. But it's vital that we connect to the aliveness of our body so that we can feel those feelings, so that we can notice the feelings, because the noticing interrupts our reaction. We can notice the feeling wherever it shows up. The noticing is an observer state. We're no longer blindly reacting to feeling a certain way. But in order to notice our feelings, we have to know where they show up. We have to be able to feel them. So we're literally learning to feel our feelings instead of blindly reacting to them. Our entire lives we've been blindly reacting to our feelings and developed all kinds of cravings and complex images as a result of that. In this scan we just did, I left out the back. So in the coming days we'll want to cover the back as well. The back of your legs. It's extremely important to consistently cover symmetrically, part by part, your entire body. Did anyone feel any sensations when we shifted our attention to the top of the head? Bjorn, what did you feel?
What did I feel? I don't know how to put that actually, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I felt really focused, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
This one.
Mm-hmm.
Almost, well, I had some moments before, but I felt quite focused, but I don't know how to explain these sensations.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good. We actually don't want to label them. It's extremely important not to look for sensations. If we keep our attention on a particular body part and we're looking for something, we're looking for a tingling feeling or a temperature change or whatever it may be, then again we're steering, we're controlling outcome. And this precise little dynamic is what can block you from successfully applying the practice. This very, very subtle tendency to look for, to expect a particular sensation. So that's why we don't stay on one spot for very long, because that tendency to look for something starts to develop. So between 5 and 7 seconds on each part, and then you just move on. Whatever you experience, any sensation that may arise, observe it as it is. If there's nothing there, that's okay too. Just continue on. Because we don't want to get imbalanced in our body where we have, all this aliveness that we're sensing in one part and then all numb and blocked in another part. In the long run, it's so important to maintain a steady base. And this is how we come out of reactivity. By observing our feelings, and we're just practicing something that is our natural state. We've just forgotten to just feel our feelings. And as soon as we feel our feelings, without reacting, by noticing them, they arise and they pass. Feelings always arise and pass. It's their natural motion. They come and go. They only stay stuck when we react to them. And then we run through life and then we react to these stuck feelings and just building up inside of us. And this is really the root of all of our misery. It's blocking us from discovering who we are. It's blocking us from hearing our inner voice. It's just having reacted to our feelings for so long. Those are the layers of confusion, distortion, fear, anxiety, reactivity. So that's all we're doing, is we're learning to feel our feelings as they are without adding to it. And then we find that most feelings are pretty easy to manage. Some are pleasant, some are unpleasant. But most of our drama in life has been the big story that we attach, our big reaction to that feeling. And in its place, as we start to observe part by part, we start to notice our aliveness. You can put your attention on your hand and feel its aliveness. Any spot on your body, you can put your attention there and feel its aliveness. This electrical current that's always there. And a flow starts to set in. And again, the utmost importance of part by part, consistently, symmetrically, so that a consistent flow can take hold. And then we can flow with life. So that was the intro to Vipassana. We have our companion meditation of thought awareness, Anapana, that we can always go back to. If Anapana. Mm-hmm. Thought awareness?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
So,
Yes, the ancient word is Anapana.
Just another thing, when we first started with the crown and then ended with the crown, both the time the sensation kind of altered.
Did you feel anything?
Yeah, both the time I felt, but the second time it altered.
It altered?
I would say for me, different.
It was different.
Mm-hmm. Yes. The sensations will always be different. It's never the same. You're a living, breathing organism with 3 trillion cells. And you're going to engage with the world, the air, the temperature, the elements around us in different ways each time. If you've seen The Matrix, that is what we are. We are the numbers flowing through us, in from the environment, through us, out, back into the environment. We're really part of it. We're not separate. So. Yes.
Sorry, but maybe you could explain just in like a minute, if it's possible, a bit more about chakras.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We have them.
Yeah.
Maybe you could explain, maybe some of you also would like
And
to
you
hear
skipped
that.
one, right? You went from solar plexus to
Well, there's
You skip more.
there's 7, right? And they have different colors associated. It's a different vein of spiritual thinking.
I think if you would say 7, I would understand. Yeah. So it's that the Sandra by telling us, because that time he was shown, he also told me what
Solar plexus, yeah.
Yeah, that's all.
So we have the crown, we have the third eye, we have the throat chakra, we have our heart chakra, we have the solar plexus, and we have the root.
no, in between the solar plexus and root there is another one below the belly.
That's here, right?
Fingers below the belly.
Oh, I think that's it. It's yellow, I think.
No. This one's split.
Yeah, there's another chakra in there.
Oh, it's oh.
But that's a different, the colors are associated with different energy centers. So there's actually 20-something chakras, but those 7 are kind of the basic version of it, and they relate to very obvious ones. We did solar plexus. So crown is where the light comes in. Third eye is your wisdom. Throat is your expression, and so forth. I'd say look it up if it tickles your interest. You can never learn enough. Yes.
Is it normal that I didn't feel anything at all?
Absolutely.
Even I think today like drained me a lot that I feel so zen.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't have like
Yes.
mood swings or anything. Okay. I didn't feel nothing. I just felt nothing.
Absolutely. That is the biggest challenge that we're all working on, is that initially you might not feel anything. Like I said, I still have blind spots after years and years of doing this. I just don't feel anything back here. I put attention there all day long. But we are alive, interacting beings with our environment. The numbers are flowing through us, the matrix numbers. So it's just about sharpening the mind even more, keeping our attention there till we feel that aliveness arise. But never force it. Part by part, keep moving along, and then slowly or gradually, by the end of the week, you'll feel aliveness in many parts. Yes. Mm-hmm. So tomorrow morning, this will be the practice that we start with. We usually do a few minutes of anapana, thought awareness, just to ground ourselves, and then we move into body awareness, vipassana.
Nice.
All right.
How did you feel?
I felt some spots I felt something, but some I felt nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Some I felt. Sometimes I was distracted, so then you already went to the other
Mm-hmm.
spot, and then
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh. So I felt different things.
To dial this in to where you're consistently, because you could have sensations in other parts where, ooh, there's something prickly in your leg and you're up here and then your attention goes there. And so to dial this in just right takes a while. But you did feel in different parts, different areas, you felt some things. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. How about Fisha?
I feel like punch, like in that, like something like sharp.
Sharp.
Also here, and when it comes to solar plexus, I feel like emotional.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
when like go to heart chakra, I imagine like a rain, like cool.
Oh wow. Wow. You're full of sensations.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very good. Nicole, how about you?
Good.
Did you feel anything anywhere?
Yeah, every single point.
Wow. What were the types of sensations?
Just awareness. I just honed in on that specific area.
Was the nature of those sensations pleasant or unpleasant?
Neither.
Neither?
Yeah.
I'm actually like that too. My sensations are always very neutral. But they can absolutely be pleasant, they can be unpleasant. Feelings can be pleasant and unpleasant. And by observing the top layers of our feelings, bottom layers start to rise to the top. So that's how stuff will start rising, coming up to the surface. So, as I said before, it's a cleansing mechanism, this practice. Because all those times in the past years and decades that we reacted and things got stuck, we're pushing things down continuously, we're coming out of reactivity. And so those feelings are allowed to, any new feelings can come and go. And because they're not getting stuck, you're actually, the lower layers are rising up to the surface of the older stuck feelings. So we're going down to the root level.
Yeah, I felt prickly things. I never knew how to describe the sensation of baldness before. Just kidding. Yeah, I feel a lot of different things. I can feel a lot of the different body work that I've done and my asymmetries. So I have all these little things going on from an original injury here, pulling on my hip, pulling up on this kneecap, over, this pulls my shoulder down. So I can feel tendons and nerves and ligaments and everything through my body from all the different things that I've learned and teach and stuff like that. So I can feel that very acutely when I focus in on different body parts. But like crown chakra, or just the crown, that's not a part I've really focused on before, except in some breath work, but it's different because you're putting pressure on your head, and here you're just, there's nothing there. So that was prickly, but I did feel the same thing as you, where it was, I could definitely feel it, the volume turned up the second time we were on our crown.
What's the lower feeling?
Pricklies, that's where I get pricklies, yeah, just, yeah, and I wouldn't describe it as good or bad, but just there. So I can feel deep knots in my body and stuff like that. But it actually helps to do this because I can let it go though too. So there's work going on in there, but then I don't have to do that either. I just want to feel and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Dialing up.
Yeah. It's tempting to just like, ooh, I feel something there, and just to like keep your focus there and start working it, and
Well, I'll do meditations on like my belly. When that gets tight, because I can feel my breath work sometimes where my exhales are getting stuck here, and I know that there's stress in my life then. And so I want that exhale to go down to my perineum all the way.
Push it down and out.
And then start from down there. So I know when things are getting stuck around the belly button, then I'll do meditations where I'm just trying to let the belly go. for an hour in bed, laying down or whatever, focusing on that and just, but it's different. And I have to say, this is a perfect system. It comes right, it's a salute. You said feel your feelings, and I don't know, there was a big light that went off in me tonight. And it's quite beautiful, this system. I saw it, felt it for the first time. Just a glimpse of the whole thing and how this works. It's really beautiful. It's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah.
It seems to me, and I know I may, it's like the perfect truth. It's the way. I know there's many ways, but wow, that's what I felt with all of this tonight. And then you really put things very well. You put things very simply, but this is complex stuff. There's nothing more complex that I know of, right? When you start going into this mess, beautiful mess, I will say, without judgment. But you really put things in your book. Your writing is this way too, Chris. You're describing, like I said, some of the most complex things there are, but in very simple ways. And so you present this in a wonderful order that I think we're beginning to feel a sequence of. So, yeah, it was a big step for me in this. So thank you.
For all of
I
us.
agree on simple parts because English is my third language, and I can understand YouTube. I think so.
Yeah.
So far, and I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I also agree with you. Right.
Mama.
I felt exactly the same way too. It's very mixed. Like for example, my head was now I didn't feel anything, and then there were parts where I had a little bit of a sensation, neutral, but the distraction was hard, like a little bug or whatever. So I found parts of that quite challenging, but I have done some like body scanning before, and I really enjoy that, like having a bit more of a focus throughout the meditation. So I'm looking forward to practicing and getting better. This isn't a question, but it's just a comment, because when you said Anapana, I went, because my mum tried to send my sister and I to like a meditation, Anapana, whatever it was, when we were, I must have been 11 and my sister was probably 9, and we didn't get it, like we just didn't know what it was all about, we couldn't connect to it, and obviously I so wish that we did, because that would have been amazing to, start understanding and practicing at such a young age, but yeah, sorry, it was just a random comment when you said Anapana, because I know that word.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's what's really exciting about now. But,
yeah. Exactly. In fact, it's always the right time.
Yeah.
I have a question. When you're doing this and thoughts are there, so now we should check with the sensation in the body, or we should come to the breath?
Yeah, if the thoughts are interfering with your ability to keep your attention on it, go back. Even now there are days when the mind is so unruly, and I sit down to do an hour of Vipassana. I spend 50 minutes of it in Anapana. Just can't keep my attention. Yeah, some days are like that, and you just go through it and keep moving forward.
For me, it was like 4 places here, third eye, and this part, I don't know, something.
Forearm, yeah.
And this one.
Yeah.
full of like this. But this third eye, I know this sensation since I was very small. I don't know, in school maybe, fourth or fifth standard, because what had happened was I was doing homework and I remember this very fondly that I just wanted to scratch and I put my pencil over here and that's when I became aware of it. So then I was like starting doing, stuff and, just taking the pencil and anything the pencil went near, the tingling started. So I thought I was doing something consciously. So I just closed my eyes and I placed the pencil there. So I was unaware of the distance.
Yeah.
And just I was going forward, but before I could even know it, as the pencil was over here and the feeling started, then I opened my eyes and I could see the pencil was this close.
Wow.
So yeah,
He's
this
a
is
miracle boy.
Yes, he is.
He didn't cry when he was born.
Of course, yeah.
He didn't cry.
He came here with a mission. Yeah.
But this is a very strong tingling sensation.
Wonderful. That's really wonderful.
You know what, like, you have any insight?
Yeah. Yeah, your challenge then will be not to expect that tingling sensation, because that expectation can be so deep once you've experienced it that then you have to wrestle with letting that go again. And it's a very subtle difference to just observe without expecting.
But if we search for why it happened or something, let's we search for the answer.
If we search for what?
Why that experience happened?
So the wonderful thing about Vipassana, and it kind of speaks to Phil that it is the perfect system, is that you don't need to know why something happened or what caused it 20 years ago in your childhood or a past life or whatever it is. It just how you feel, observing your sensations and allowing those feelings to come and go keeps your system clean. The old stuck feelings come to the surface and they leave you. And then you continue to live life and have new experiences without reacting to them and keeping them stuck. So you're healing and cleaning yourself up without, there's only so many things we can remember that maybe triggered us. But we're reacting to everything every single day.
I have one question. Just in Yoga Institute, my guru, Dr. Jaydev, he died in February, and every year we go and bow down to him. Free of us, we'll go. In a year, anytime we'll go, especially Diwali or something. So this time I had been one of my friend who is now international pandit of yoga. So he asked me for a favor to come to the institute and help out. And then I went to the institute and I saw such a great difference in teaching and teachers and everything. So then I just went and asked that I don't have money, but I want to do one course. And course was cost me that time myself. And this fellow must have watched me doing what I was volunteering. So somewhere, I think so many legs, 4-5 legs or something like that course. So he said, you are allowed to come. Only the thing that you come on time and go on time. Don't be absent. That time Dharya was in 12th. So then it was unexpected answer for me. So then I decided when he died. I was talking now to somebody in institute. So I said my guru called me, and when he was going that time I spoke mantra called him. So somewhere I felt this connection, and he said this is also your what do you do? He said something like that, near to ego. So that's the same thing because I had many experiences in my life. My father had also had some experiences that told me that, so many. So I want to ask that I stuck to this experience. Is my ego what you are saying that you don't?
Many questions similar to that will arise. And the only advice is to bring your attention back to your sensations. It's there's very little use in trying to analyze and understand things like that.
But it's better to get detached with all that experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The only reality that is real is how you feel. Any sensations that arise, to become aware of them and no longer push them away, or cling to the ones that you want to keep, and just creating a clean system of experiencing life and feeling your feelings.
This was devoted to me. I was very much surprised. Till then I was not realizing these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sticking to the feeling.
Yes. So we went a little over time. We had two, Kelly, and so you're first, and then you're second, and then it's 9.
Oh, then I need to go to my massage.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh, you have a massage as well.
But no, I can feel. Daddy, you had massage.
Yeah.
What time?
Where do we?
We'll go up. Oh, actually, we can do it here. We can do it here. Yeah.
Okay, then I go to the toilet.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh. Oh. Thank you. Thank you.
Very nice. Thank you.